Hey everybody, it is Gayla Wick, Denver love coach, matchmaker, and author of The Art of Attracting Authentic Love. I thought I would talk to you about this topic again today. I know we've covered it before. However, I have some real life examples today that I want to share with you. I actually wish I didn't have these real life examples because I wish they didn't happen, but they're still happening. And so I thought it was worth going over and letting you know that this is not what I think is happening, but this is what my clients are telling me has actually happened to them. And I've talked to the people that they've gone out on dates with. And so I know that these things have happened. So really, just once and for all, let's just go over these things and say, if you know someone you think is doing this, you might want to share this with them. Or if you've done any of these things, just know how it comes across to the other person. So let's just begin with the first thing. Obviously, everyone should know, don't be late for a date, right? Well, of course, I'm hearing this more and more, that people are late. Listen, it's thoughtless to be late, especially for a date, because you're trying to make a good first impression. And so when you're late, it's bad enough. But when one of the folks that I recently found out about made a lame excuse for being late, that makes it even worse. So just know your time is important, their time is important. And so if you're a few minutes early, that's a good thing, okay? I highly recommend that. And of course, things do happen. So if something really happens that is really not preventable for the first date, then make your apologies and make them real apologies, okay? The second thing is showing up not dressed appropriately for the occasion. Look, for you men especially, I've heard more complaints about the men on these dates lately. She put a lot of effort, I'm sure, into how she looks for the first date. And it doesn't matter if it's a casual restaurant or if it's a dress-up restaurant. I tend to send people to middle-of-the-road restaurants for a first date so people can dress, not business casual, but dressy casual. Dressy casual is usually perfectly fine, especially out here in the West. I know we tend to be probably a little bit more on the casual side out here in the West. But if you don't know how to dress, then find somebody to help you. Certainly, I'm available to help my clients with this, but the best thing to do is just Google a restaurant, see what kind of place it is, get a real sense of it. And again, if you need help, get help. So those are the two easy ones right up front. I know we don't really want to think about judging people, but you know what happens. We are going to make some judgments right away if our date is on time and if they are dressed appropriately. And then, of course, don't forget to have that smile on your face. So the third thing I wanted to talk to you about is talking about your exes on the first date. I mean, there's going to be a time that you're going to share about exes if you are fortunate enough to get into a real relationship. So it's not a good idea, as one person recently did, spend time talking about your last 3 dates that you thought had horrible problems. Excuse me, don't do that on a first date. Nobody wants to be regaled by your miserable dating experiences, okay? And certainly don't tell people that the last few dates you had were drug addicts. No, don't do that. I meant relationships. That all of your relationships have been with men who've been drug addicts. Come on, don't do that. Don't do that. And number 4, look, this needs to be a 50-50 conversation when you're on a first date. If you're nervous and you find yourself talking a lot, try to know that you do that, get a grip on that, and take a breath. It's okay to have some silent moments on a date. It's okay. Everyone needs a minute to think. And so don't do as one gentleman recently did. He just rapidly fired questions at his date, and she felt it was way too intense and that she didn't have a second to even think about what she wanted to ask him, because he was just on and on and on, asking question after question and switching topics, sort of like someone, who might have ADD do. So again, please don't do that on a date. The 6th thing that I want to talk to you about is leading with your worst possible information. Look, we all know the old vows that say that you're going to take this man or woman for better or worse. And we all hope our partner is going to stick with us through the thick and the thin, as they say. But you don't have to lead with the worst possible information. So don't tell them about all of your horrible experiences. Certainly don't tell them things like, if you're in your 40s, that you've never been in love before. You can talk about that some other day, but it makes you seem like you probably have a bigger problem than finding the love of your life right now. And certainly do not tell them things like your only relationships have been with drug addicts. The other thing that you might not want to say is, after you've agreed prior to the date for my matchmaking clients that you really would like to have a child in the future, don't tell your date, well, I didn't mean that I wanted to birth a child myself. What I'd really like to do, and this is a quote, is maybe just adopt a really screwed up kid. I mean, really? That's not a first date conversation. That's not language that should be happening on a first date. Moving on to number 7 for today's video. There are many more, but number 7 I'm going to leave you with is, please don't say insulting things about your date's family or pets. Yes, recently had someone tell me that their date asked them if they liked dogs. And they said, of course. Do you have a dog? Yes, I have a dog. What kind of dog is it? And she said a specific breed of a small dog. And this man's response was, oh, I can't stand that type of dog. Oh my goodness. What are you trying to do? Listen, a first date is to generate interest. It is not to insult somebody. It is not to tell them every bad thing that's ever happened to you in dating. It's not to show up as if you don't care about the date. Really, these are just basic things. If I get some more of these stories in the future, I'm going to share them with you because these things are happening and these are things that should not be happening if you want to have a second date. And of course, you all know if you don't get past the first date to the second date, you are never going to have a relationship. So I hope you've enjoyed this. I wanted to keep it short because I know we've talked about this topic before. But again, if you know of anyone and you're pretty sure they're probably doing a few of these things, be sure to share this video with them. And I look forward to seeing you again soon with another topic. And so just remember, until next time, be the loving person that you're trying to attract into your life.